Well, good morning, everybody. It's Cindy Squirrel here from Squirrel Mills Farms. Today, it's overcast, chilly, so I think I am going to do a recipe that I've always done, baked beans. And I'm going to put them in the bean pot that my grandmother gave me 30 years ago for Christmas present. I haven't used it very much lately. I seen it and I was like, oh, I gotta do this again. So the recipe is one of mine, and it was printed in the favorite recipes for Hornings Mills. It was a Knox Presbyterian Church building fund. The first recipe is my baked beans. So last night I started off, I put 1.5 cups of the white beans in water and I let them soak overnight. And as you can see, 1.5 cups turned into almost 3 cups. And they've been soaking overnight. But before I put them in the water, I put them on a plate. And you pick out all the undesirables, and I've even found a stone once, just a little wee stone about that size. Can you imagine what that would have been like if you had a bit into that? So remember to go through your beans and make sure there's no bad ones or stones. So like I said, I've had them soaking overnight, so now I'm going to drain these. And now there's 2 ways of doing this. You can now that I've had them soaking and they've rehydrated, I'm going to put them, drain this water off, add new water into a saucepan, and I'm going to boil them. And you just boil them until they break. They're not mushy, they just break. It might take about 1.5 hours. So I will see you later. So I dumped off all the water that was in it overnight, and I'm just giving them a good rinse, and then I'm going to put them in the pot. So I've put them in a pot. I've added fresh water. Now one tip is, do not put salt in this water. Don't add any salt until those beans are soft. I made the mistake once when I was quite a bit younger, and because I always salt my water, I put salt in, wasn't thinking. You could cook those beans for days and they would never get soft. I don't know why. It totally ruined Christmas dinner, actually. I was planning on making a big pot of beans to serve. Had them cooking all day, and the beans were still rock hard. And Mom said, "Did you add salt to the water?" And I said yes. And she said, "Don't do that again." So I haven't. Well, there's my lesson for today. Don't put salt in this water. So we're going to bring this up to a boil or a simmer, and we're going to simmer them. It could take 1.5 hours. And we're going to watch. These beans will split, and as soon as they split, then we're going to make all the other yummy ingredients and put them in the bean pot and put them in the oven. Okay, it's been about 50 minutes. And you can see that there's the odd skin coming off, and I don't know if you can see that they're splitting. See this split there? Take it over here. Go away, steam. And if you just push gently down, they do smush. Okay? So those beans are ready. I'm just draining the beans. So this is the bean pot that my grandmother gave me many moons ago, made in Japan. Beautiful little pot. Now to that, we are going to add our beans. I'm putting you down there. Okay, so here's the beautiful beans in the pot. Now we are going to add 1/4 cup chopped onions. Okay. And we have 2 tablespoons? Yeah, 2 tablespoons of molasses. Oh, my oven's ready. And we have 1/4 cup of ketchup. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to put that all in there, mix it all up. And then this time, it's optional, but the recipe does call for smoked sausage. So you can find these in any convenience store beside the hot rods or the beef jerky. Okay, I'm just going to put in 1. I've chopped it up like that. So I'm going to add that to my bean pot too. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, you see that I stirred it all up. There's no liquid in there, just a little bit of ketchup and the molasses. Now it says tomato juice. Now it says 1 to 1.5 cups of tomato juice. So what you do is you just pour just enough to cover them. You don't overjuice them. Okay, let's take a look here. Stir that up. Okay, they're not covered yet, so I will add the rest. So that was 1.5 cups. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Just covered. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to add more tomato juice. We might add some more, or you can, in the cooking process, we're going to cook these for about 1.5 hours. The oven is set at 300 degrees. Check them every half hour. And if they're getting dry, the liquid's gone, you can either add some more tomato juice or you can add some hot water. The tomato juice you should almost warm up so you're not putting cold into the hot and then you've got to wait for that tomato juice to come back up to temperature. Okay, so we're going to put a lid on this and put it in the oven. My beautiful bean pot. Okay, so the beans were in the oven for like 10 minutes when I realized I didn't add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. So put that in there. Gosh. Mix her all in good. And we will put it back in the oven. Set the timer for 30 minutes. Check to see if it needs more liquid added to it. Well, here they are. Oh, 2 hours I cooked these. Never had to add any juice, and it seems to be really juicy, this one. Maybe if I had taken the lid off, some of the juice would go. But just look at this. Oh, wow. I wish you were here to smell this. You cannot just open a can of beans and warm it up and have this aroma, and the flavor is wow. Now, I'm using this bean pot because I have this bean pot. You could use a Dutch oven. You could use a casserole dish. You could do this over open flame outside in your Dutch oven. Do it on your barbecue. So many options. And if you don't like smoked sausage in it, don't put smoked sausage in it. You might like some bacon or something. Just wonderful. Can hardly wait to have lunch.